So, tell me something terrible. Is this week going to involve baseball too? And beards?
Nope.
Oh man.
I did pull up the wrong untitled
Document?
Let's
just read that one.
Hold on.
Did
This
it
one.
save?
All right, found it. Yes. I would be really upset if
We're
it didn't.
about to just do a completely random... We're going to do a podcast on skincare ingredients or whatever your other save document probably was.
They just put them in a House of David redo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In case you didn't hear last, no.
It was an accident. This one's 4 pages long, and it's only half again.
Another two-parter.
Yeah.
Oh, we're
Yep.
just letting them know.
Right now.
This is the start of the podcast?
I mean, I don't care.
Okay. No, this is natural. This feels good.
Okay, good.
Very organic.
Oh, good. That's our entire relationship. It has always been organic and natural.
Yes. Anyway, I was going to make like a food joke, but let's just not. So this is going to be another...
not.
Yeah. Let us, like a garlic knot too.
Yep.
So this is going to be another two-parter?
Yeah.
Another two-part Cultmas-y one?
Yes.
Okay.
So this one... Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. This is going to be the whole theme for the whole podcast.
Yep.
It's going to be chaotic energy.
Yes.
Good.
That's what I am here for.
Also, if you can't tell, you can't because it's an audio podcast. Our podcast studio is like 48 degrees because we don't heat this part of the house because it's big and unnecessary. So we're just going to sit here and shiver. So ignore that. I have a blanket on, which tells you a lot.
You did wrap your feet?
Yeah. My diabetic toes were going to fall off before the end of this episode.
Oh,
You're like,
no.
it's going to be 2 hours. I was like, I can't.
I won't make
I'll
it.
die. Yeah.
I won't make it. So this one's pretty terrible. So make your jokes up front.
Okay.
And
The whole part one is going to be terrible?
Yeah, the whole fucking thing is awful.
Okay, good. There's not like a mask of, social influence and some greater good.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so it's not House of David take 2. This is...
He's literally named...
Don't spoil it before
He's one
you
of...
start.
No, it's in the headlines for one of the sources that I used. He's literally Canada's most violent cult leader in history. And it was an accident. I was like, oh yeah. I was trying to figure out which cult I was going to do next. I'm like, I have heard of this one. And I know he's pretty bad. So, we'll just darken it up a little bit. And I didn't darken it up a little bit. I put out every candle and put it in a hole in the ground and buried it, darkened it up.
We're just breaking down stereotypes that all Canadians are like just nice, easygoing people.
Yeah, they put all their anger in the geese. Duh.
Do they?
Yes, that's why Canadian geese are assholes.
Right? And Canadian bacon's inferior. It's just ham. Get out of here.
Yeah, it is. So I am going to start this one with a trigger warning up front.
Since you didn't do that last time?
Yep.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
Sexual assault, homicide, domestic abuse, child abuse, suicide, more homicide, torture, literally all of them.
Every episode's marked explicit. And sometimes I'm like, we probably didn't have to mark this one explicit. Like for some of the topics we cover, but this one...
But usually it's followed up by like House of David really wasn't that terrible. This one?
No, I'm
sorry.
talking like some of the like more like, I guess like cryptidy type stuff we cover is very not like...
horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we try to lighten up. I'll lighten it up next episode.
Next episode's part 2 of this terrible one. January.
For the
Turn
new
it a
year.
new leaf.
Yeah, we're turning a
our
new leaf.
resolution is not have a trigger warning for 1 episode a month.
Which will be easy because we're only doing 2 episodes a month right now.
Are we? 'Cause
Yeah.
this month we're doing 5.
Look, you know what?
You're 4 plus the Patreon one.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Busy month.
It is. So, Roch Thériault, or Thériault? I believe it's Roch Thériault.
Okay.
He was born in May 1947 to parents Hyacinth.
Like a macaw?
Yep.
Okay.
Or the flower.
Oh, okay.
You can see how much I've influenced your life. Like the bird, right?
We talk about birds more. Well, I guess we talk about flowers a lot too.
Yeah, we do.
Anyway.
You got to keep that conversations just thriving with flower and bird topics.
Birds and blooms. We're literally the magazine over here.
So he was born to Hyacinth the macaw. She was a laborer and devoutly religious member of a fascist Catholic sect called the Union of Electors, or the White Berets.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we're starting out just
you hear a lot of floral names. I mean, we have a lily, but you don't hear a lot of hyacinths.
I kind of like it.
But what do you call her? How do you shorten it up?
Synth, dubstep. Let the beat drop.
I feel like it's like Haya. Like, I don't know how
you wouldn't.
Yeah, you'd have to go completely different nickname.
They're French, so.
Yeah.
And then his father's name was literally Pierre, like it's
Pierre?
like
Piere.
TTE at the end, yeah, but like.
What? You're showing me a whole page full of stuff.
Hold on.
Oh my god.
Hold on, right there.
Okay.
Yep.
Like Pierrette.
Yep.
Okay.
So he went door to door evangelizing for the White Berets, and according to Roch, he was also wildly abusive, although Hyacinth denied all of these claims.
Okay, I've actually never heard of the White Berets.
That's not the cult.
No, I know, but I assumed it wasn't. Something else you can, dive into when you're really feeling.
Some Catholic fascists? That sounds like a good old time.
Yeah. That will have trigger warnings for you.
Remember how you were like, man, it would be nice to go over an episode that's not relevant to today?
Yeah.
Nah,
I don't think the White Berets would be.
Like the last, like the last bonus episode, we were like, it's about chariot racing. I was gaslit that entire fucking episode, and he just kept saying it was like, it's about chariot racing. It's not. It's not.
It was about a lot of things, but it focused on chariot racing.
It was the history of some chariot race.
Exactly.
So Roch was born in the God, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Saguenay Valley in Quebec.
Okay.
He was the second.
Probably butchered that.
Yeah. We're just gonna move past.
Mm-hmm.
He was the second of 7 children, and he was the oldest son. And according to his family, he would play with wild bears.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly.
As you do in Quebec.
Yep. So the family packed up and moved to an even smaller town called Thetford Mines.
All right.
This is where the local school only went up to a 7th grade education.
I mean, yeah. Then you're just wasting time.
Yep. You got to get out there and plow. Got to get in those mines, guys.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's probably.
So, this is as far as Roch got in his formal education, leaving school at 13 with a healthy dose of a level of hatred toward the Catholic Church between his parents and, prophesizing and having to go to mass. He hated it.
Okay. Rebel.
So in every other aspect of Roch's childhood was pretty uneventful, but Roch, with all his charm and charisma and...
His what?
Charisma?
Charisma
and intelligence.
You are struggling with
I
words
am really
tonight.
struggling. I was like, I'm going to write this so eloquently, and then my brain is just done. I made cookies earlier, which is a lot to have things. I couldn't. It was so bad.
So you're just fatigued.
I am.
What's half of 1 cup? Oh, God.
So, his childhood was pretty uneventful, but with all of his charm, charisma, and intelligence, he soon learned that commiserating about his childhood would gain him sympathy from others. So he learned being whiny.
Play the victim.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yep. So he would in turn give him the attention that he craved because he was one of 7, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so he paired this with his interest in numerous topics and realized from a young age just how many people he could keep captivated just simply by himself.
Yes. He's reading the Cult Leader Playbook.
Yep.
Okay.
At age 13. He's already figuring
this shit out. Well, it's the 60s by then. So yeah. That's a high time for cults.
In 1967, he met and married his first wife, Francine. They moved to Montreal, had 2 sons, Roch Jr. and Francois.
Of course.
But Roch,
hockey players.
Yep. But Roch Jr. got sick and required surgeries that left him with the digestive issues that led to the kid being irritable. And so...
Gluten allergy?
Yeah, probably. Roch Sr. couldn't deal with cranky children, so he bounced.
Oh, cool.
But this did trigger a lifelong obsession with medicine and surgery.
Okay.
Which led him to teach himself, quote, a great deal about anatomy.
I don't love where this is going. Is this guy a cult leader or a serial killer? Because it kind of feels like it's walking a fine line.
So...
Okay, good.
At this point, he moved his fam from the big city back to Thetford Mines, where he taught himself woodworking and started getting involved in politics and religion, joining a group called Le Club Aramas, which is similar to the Shriners.
Okay.
Which are like the Freemasons, kind of. And he became interested in sexual activities that upset his wife, and then he took up drinking.
All right.
Yep.
Just exploring himself.
Yep. So
he didn't get those college years, he's just...
Yeah,
just
he's going through that midlife crisis, hit 20 and was like, shit.
Quarter life crisis.
So, he also started an affair with a woman named Giselle.
Okay.
Remember her? She's important.
Okay.
So Roch went broke. He lost his house. Francine finally had enough, packing up the boys and headed out. Roch continued his hidden affair with Giselle, though, because it was kind of like...
frowned upon?
Yeah. So after his divorce, Roch stumbled across... Okay, it's really hard because his name is pronounced Roch, but it is spelled R-O-C-H. So my brain is struggling with all of it.
You should just spelled it,
Phonetically?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been smart. So Roch stumbled across the Seventh-day Adventists. Yeah.
Yes.
My fucking God. It's because we also went to a work party and I had to talk a lot. And so my tongue, I think, is also tired.
All the excuses.
Oh, God, just the worst. So he became a Seventh-day Adventist. Mm-hmm. It was ministered by a man named...
a chicken coop.
Yes.
I think they all have to have chicken coops.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
A friend...
And they usually have to have a blog and shiplap.
Okay.
Yep.
Shiplap?
Shiplap. Like from Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Lap?
Shiplap. Shiplap. Yep. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to bed, you guys.
No. We'll keep a timer. I'll just put a little... if I cared about editing, I would just ding every time you butchered a word tonight.
Oh, that would be love.
If it'd be annoying to listen to, people would be like, what is it? We're like 10 minutes in, they'd be like, I'm done. This is crazy talk.
So anyway, he joined the Seventh-day Adventists, was ministered by a man named Zeta. They met in a hotel room every Saturday. The little
Zeta
group.
or Zeta?
I don't know. Zita.
Oh, I was going to say Zeta. I think it's Zeta. But
whatever.
I was just curious.
He's French, not Greek.
I wasn't correcting that. I was just curious.
Anyway, so the group would meet in the hotel room every Saturday.
Every seventh day.
Every seventh day.
That's how those weekly meetings work.
It is. So then Roch was devoted. He was a devoted follower who took on the healthier lifestyle and quit drinking.
Okay.
Great, right?
Cool.
Eventually falling in love with the Old Testament, particularly with its strict living codes and the masculine authority.
Oh, yeah, that seems appealing.
And the apocalypse and the punishment for sinners.
Also, that was said sarcastically. It may not have come across that way.
Just to let you know, I swear I am not a stereotype.
Yeah. I'm not like, just a secret misogynist over here. Be like, I kind of like this guy. No.
Just need
We had
context.
this conversation like 2 nights ago where we're like the dryness of our sense of humors can come across like from the outside as us just being assholes. Mm-hmm. But so sometimes I feel like I need to clarify that.
Well, yeah, and also like that. What brought up that conversation was like if people were to listen to us separate, they'd be like, "Man, these people are dicks to each other. They don't even like each other. Like, what the fuck? Why are they holding hands?"
Yep. No, we have our own love language. Just dry
sarcasm,
horrible humor. Yes.
So, so he was hella into the Seventh-day Adventist shtick. So Zeta put him in charge of selling Adventist like propaganda door to door, and then eventually he headed workshops on quitting smoking, which is how the Adventists would secretly evangelize to people.
Oh, okay.
It was like the gateway. They were like, put this drug down, pick this drug up.
Pick up Jesus.
So his charisma and involvement in the group started gaining
his
him
charisma.
And involvement in the group started gaining him some followers. And then by 1977, there were 10 people and a baby that would meet him at Giselle's apartment, separate from the other Seventh-day Adventists,
okay,
where they would all spend the weekends. So these 10 were comprised of a man named, some of these are going to be important, a man named Jacques Guerre and his wife, Maurice. She's important.
Okay.
And their 6-month-old baby. He's very important.
Terrific.
Another Jacques. There was some guy named Claude, and then there were 5 women between the ages of 18 and 21 named Solange. She's hella important.
Okay.
Chantal, Francine, Nicole, another Maurice with an I instead of a Y, and her husband, Jose.
Okay.
It's Josee. It might be Josie.
Jose seems a little
not French. Wrong country.
Yeah, with all those other fairly French Canadian names, Jose would definitely stick out.
I think maybe Josie.
I have no idea.
I don't know. You took French.
No one was named Jose.
Okay. So Roch encouraged everyone that was in college to drop out because guess what was coming? The apocalypse.
Oh, yep.
So why would you stay in school?
Follow me or die to the impending doom.
Yep. So eventually Roch...
Turn over all your earthly possessions.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Why? What? It's like you've heard this story before.
Yeah.
So eventually Roch developed a reputation as a healer and a messenger, attracting a couple of more followers during an Adventist retreat where he had a vision on a mountain all alone where God came down to him and told him that this was going to be the future paradise.
Excellent.
We really like Northern America, apparently, for all of the paradises. Benton Harbor, Quebec. Where's next?
No.
Are you teasing me now?
No. We've watched enough Letterkenny that I don't know how you say anything anymore.
It's Quebec, right?
I think it depends where you're from.
All right.
Anyway.
So, these two women were named Gabrielle Lavallee, who's also super important, and some woman named Yolanda. She yeeted herself.
I'll wait until they come back up again to remember them.
Yeah. So, despite the fact that Zita kept trying to persuade the women to run, so like the original little leader was like, just get away from this fucking man.
Yeah.
So discourse between Roch and his little subgroup of followers and Zita and all the other Seventh-day Adventists started to grow. So in 1978, Roch decided to move his following to a town called Sainte Marie.
Okay.
That one we know how to pronounce.
It's Mary.
To fund themselves, Roch decided to open an alternative health clinic that he named the Healthy Living Clinic, where you could buy organic food and holistic literature and cures.
Terrific.
Yeah, all with cash only.
Got to keep it off the books.
Yep. So he collected himself a few more followers.
Well, in the 70s, that's probably not that
uncommon.
Maybe just people would write checks back then?
No insurance. It's a health clinic.
Okay.
That's what he meant by no.
Oh, not like no insurance. Gotcha.
Cash only. Like you had to buy it out of your pocket.
Credit cards then.
No, especially women. Ugh.
Right.
No, it was insurance wasn't accepted.
Oh,
it's one of those kind of health clinics.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. So he collected himself a few more followers. One named Leo, who sold all of his possessions and became a patron saint for the clinic, as well as Jacques G and his wife Maurice and the other Maurice with an I. They all became patrons too. So at this point, all of the women in the group started vying for Roch's attention, except for Maurice with a Y.
Okay.
She was always hated being there. She joined because her husband dragged her there.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yep.
She seems like she'd be important.
Yeah. She's
the one that doesn't want to be there. That's yeah. That's how we all know about this.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Good. That's in part 2.
Okay, good.
So jealousy was growing inside Giselle, the woman that he had an affair.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
She doesn't like all of his. Yeah.
All these other chicks flirting with him.
Correct.
They're not fucking yet. So
terrific.
She saw the tension between the other women and Roch, and so she tried to tie him down by proposing to him in January.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's a ballsy move.
Yep. So
I mean, in the 70s, probably more ballsy too.
Yes. Well, it took him 2 weeks to decide.
He left her on red.
For 2 weeks.
No, think about that.
So they got married at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and Giselle cried the entire van ride back home while Roch flirted and joked with the others. And at this point, she'd realized the wedding may have just been a way to validate their connection to the church.
Oh, terrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's starting to get the little inside. Mm-hmm. So in March of 1978, a patient named Geraldine Auclair, doesn't matter, Geraldine, she was admitted to the Healthy Living Clinic at the suggestion of her husband, who had fallen in line with Roch. She was being treated for leukemia at a cancer clinic, like an actual doctor's office. Seems
like the place to get that treated.
No, Roch was upset about the medication they were giving her, even like cussed out the doctors, threw a fit. So they checked her into the health clinic, the healthy living clinic.
Yep. Made her a turmeric smoothie. She was good to go.
Yep. This is where her father wasn't even allowed to visit her.
Never a red flag at all.
So Roch changed her treatment plan from chemo to grape juice and organic foods.
See?
She was the first one to die.
Yep. That seems like an ineffective way to treat cancer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then she was also the first one to be brought back to life.
Okay.
When Roch entered her room alone, kissed her, and resurrected her, but only for a moment. Because, quote, when God wants people, he takes them.
Okay. So this was his story after their...
Yeah, and it happened...
And he's the only witness.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. That's what I was trying to, stumble through.
Yep. So another patient that was brought in was a woman named Gabrielle. She was a 19-year-old, quote, invalid with MS. Yeah, so she couldn't, walk.
Oh, okay.
Or anything.
She was handicapped.
Yes.
Yep.
And she had met Roch during an anti-smoking workshop.
Terrific.
Yep. So Zita had finally had enough, and and voted to remove Roch from the Adventists in April of 1978. So at this point, he'd moved, opened his clinic, and then 2 years later, Zita was finally like, "Fuck you, I'm done." But not like that, holy men and all.
Yeah, probably a little more organized than that too.
Yeah. So all this did was inspire Roch to marry all of his followers to one another, to partners that he chose, in a ceremony.
Assigned seating. Love it.
It's a good way to put it.
Yep.
And in the ceremony, he impressed upon them women's submissiveness and servitude to men, and then he reassigned everyone biblical names.
Oh, cool.
All
right.
How you feeling so far?
That's fine. That's more like a Muslim thing, I feel like. That's how Muhammad Ali, that's
right.
Part of it, but okay. We're apparently doing that in the Seventh-day
Adventists too?
Yeah, whatever branch of that he claims to be.
Yep. So he also changed his name.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Is it going to be something easy for you to pronounce?
Yeah. This one's pretty popular. I know this one.
Jesus?
Close. One of those top men. Which one's another deliverer?
Moses?
Yep.
Okay, good.
He changed his name to Moses.
Okay.
Or Moise, because apparently that was how it was pronounced in the Old Testament. No, it's Moise. Moise.
Huh. Yep. I know Moise, with an S at the end. There was a baseball player named Moises Alou, and that's how he spelled his name.
Oh, sounds like he's trying to say Moses with a speech impediment.
Or he's Latino.
That too. Shit. Oh, no.
Yeah. That's
insert foot into mouth.
Yeah, that's probably how the Catholic, population in
maybe.
He was probably from somewhere in the Dominican Republic type area
where they speak a different language that
and
we
baseball's still
fail to understand because we're lazy.
Popular. Anyway,
I'm glad both of us have two separate points we're trying to make at the same time.
Yes.
So
and all of my references for life come from sports.
Yep.
Which is sad.
No, it's endearing. So Roch finally...
She said while wincing.
So Roch finally knocked up Giselle.
Okay.
Who was going by Rachel at this point.
Okay.
And then when she found out she was pregnant, she gave Roch an ultimatum to either break the commune or she would move back home with her parents.
Okay.
So Roch displayed his first act of violence, hitting her in the mouth and forbidding her to leave her room for 2 days.
Okay.
The word that was repeated over and over again in a couple of articles that I was reading was smashed her in the mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't like a slap.
It wasn't a love tap or like a, discipline abuse situation. It was
blatant violence.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by mid-1978, after not paying for supplies or rent and police investigations regarding Geraldine, and the Seventh-day Adventists cutting off their food supply, Roch closed the Healthy Living Center. It was done.
Hate to see it go.
Mm-hmm. So he packed up the group and wandered from town to town and then off into the woods.
Okay.
Yep.
It's got to get cold in the woods in Canada.
What?
Just saying.
Luckily, this is the middle of the summer.
Okay, good. You got 4 months and you're all going to die.
Yeah. So, no. This is where they set out on foot into the middle of I'm not even going to pronounce it. Some peninsula in Quebec.
Okay.
Next to Dry Lake on a small mountain that he named Eternal Mountain.
Okay. Not the Misty Mountains.
No. So this is where he ordered their little group to dig the foundation and a well and then build the cabin. He couldn't help because of his stomach pain and cancer and because he had started drinking again.
Oh, he has cancer?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Totally has cancer and stomach pains.
Oh, he's going to heal himself. I'm just foreshadowing.
No, that actually does not happen.
Okay, good.
But he couldn't help because he was just in so much pain.
I feel like that should have been a textbook move. Just diagnose yourself with cancer and then heal yourself of your cancer. Come on, cult leaders, get it together.
There's a great podcast called Fraudsters, and they go over like some religious fraud. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's good.
I don't know if that's the word.
Oh, it's. I mean, it was well researched and it's amazing.
The things we listen to and get enjoyment from are so different. Like they could not be more different.
Oh, and so they spent all of this time building and digging, and so Roch took to calling them the Ant Hill Kids because they were like little ant workers.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the name of their cult, is the Ant Hill Kids.
I can't see any resentment coming ever in this whole cult.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. So they build the well in the middle of the living room and then partial walls for bedrooms. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Strange layout.
Living room, well in the middle of it, partial like 3-foot tall walls for all the other rooms, and then like curtains hung for the rest of the walls.
Okay.
And then their ceiling was like moss and branches.
Terrific.
And this was to be their home until God started his 1,000-year reign on earth.
All right.
Yep. After he arrived in a lightning-filled boulder storm. Yes, there was going to be storms, lightning, boulders were going to be falling.
Oh, good.
Rocks from the sky.
You have a stick roof in moss.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you know that's coming, maybe have a better roof.
Yeah, it's literally, if the three little pigs taught us nothing, it at least taught us you need to have a sturdy wall.
Right.
So anyway, this storm was going to happen on February 17th, 1979.
Oddly specific.
Yep.
Okay.
So to support themselves, Roch collected welfare checks from everyone in the group because they are a family.
As you.
So at this point, they had gone through 2 different uniforms. The first was a long green or beige tunics that they kept tripping over while they were building the cabin. Mm-hmm. So they switched to shorter blue tunic wraps. So they even have their own
dress code
outfits.
Terrific.
Yes. So the first person that defected from the cult, that sentence does not belong. There was somebody who defected from the cult. Oh, it was Yolanda. She was like, deuces, I'm done with this. Bye.
Okay.
So now at this point, Roch was also going by Pappy, and Giselle was dubbed Mammy.
I bet you she loves that.
Yep. And Mammy informed him that the other girls in the cult who were not married to someone were lonely.
Okay.
So Roch decided that everyone was now separated, and all of them were then married to him.
Terrific.
Mm-hmm. But
is this just because Giselle didn't want anything to do with him anymore?
Maybe.
She's like, take up 7 wives so I don't have to deal with you.
Yes, probably. But in the meantime, between and before marriages, because it kind of took him a little bit of time to get married to everybody, he had also beaten Mammy for trying to leave again after she found out that he was having an affair. Okay. Like before he'd started marrying everybody.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Before he legitimatize whatever that word is.
I'm glad
legitimized?
Oh my
Lord.
Nope,
so you're putting an extra T in it too.
Wow.
Legitimized
That's
all of his affairs, yes.
Nailed it. I'm glad I'm wearing off on you. Anyway, the last person to wind up... Oh, sorry. Not the last person. The person who never married him was Maurice with a Y. Yeah. Because she wasn't taking any shit.
Good for her.
So life grew more violent at the compound. Beatings happened on the reg, both administered by Roch himself or from other members that Roch manipulated. Food was heavily rationed, and he used it as punishment if you misbehaved in any way, and his drinking also got worse.
Terrific. I mean, why wouldn't you stick around?
Yeah. When Giselle? No, or the other Maurice? Somebody was 6 months pregnant, and she ate 2 more pancakes than him, and so he beat her and broke ribs.
I mean,
pregnant.
He needed those pancakes. He's the man.
his stomach cancer. He has to feed his stomach cancer. So followers would get hit in the face, in their body. He broke Maurice's ribs while pregnant.
Yep.
He hit them with a 4-inch thick club if they fell asleep during his long raving sermons.
That's what I call it too.
A 4-inch club.
4-inch thick club, you said. Yeah.
Thick club. Those adjectives are important. So his favorite form of punishment was to strip people naked and force them to stand out in the snow for hours.
What? Okay.
Quote, no one would fight back. It would be like raising a hand against God himself.
Oh.
Because he's Moses. He's the deliverer. He's the messenger. He's going to save all of them. He is punishing people for their sins on God's behalf because God told him to.
Some cults are easy to understand how people get duped into it essentially, and then they're too far to come back.
Yeah, like Scientology.
This is like, there's zero reason to stay.
It's because they were already... That's what I was actually talking about with Emily literally today at
the Christmas party.
At the Christmas party. It's because they were already kind of prepped in a really manipulative religion environment in the first place. And so it wasn't that hard to take that one more step further.
Yeah.
Because talking about religion is important.
Yeah. Well, and like Zeta probably should have been more like
proactive.
Not just kicked him out, but been like try to like pull them back out of his depths. But
all of their family did. A lot of them. Like even through this, the family members would show up, or they would they'd be in hospitals or like all different sorts of stuff, and people would try to tell them like, you need to leave. And he literally convinced these people that they are evil and they're the mark of the beast, and they're going they're going to try to manipulate you and try to get you away from me because they're going to hell. Like he had them so brainwashed. It's so sad.
Yeah.
So anyway, after a night of drinking and beating, the hangover the next day would leave him, Roch begging and pleading with God, asking him to please take the burden of having to dole out punishment to his followers for their sins. Okay. Like he would out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would
just a little combo.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm so sorry that I have to please take this burden from me of having to abuse these people. Mm-hmm. So people had teeth pulled out. Giselle, his first wife, lost 8.
What? Okay. Yeah, that trigger warning up front. Don't.
Toes were cut off. Mm-hmm. Maurice lost most of her toes. One of them, Roch forced her husband to cut off.
This is fucking Saw. This is Saw.
It is. It really is. It's really fucking horrible. There's people that were always, getting hit, beat, head wounds, choking, cutting, stabbing. Children were punished by being tacked to trees and other children were stoned them. Like, there were 22 kids in this cult by the end of it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the police became interested in their little group, interviewing Roch, but coming to the decision that he was a delusional old crank and that they lacked any evidence that he was doing anything wrong.
Except all the blood everywhere.
Yeah, they had nothing, but they had no, because when they would come and interview people, everyone, no one would say anything.
Silent, yeah.
Yep. And then the end of the world happened.
Did it?
The end. It's over. Just kidding. February 17th, 1979 came and went, and instead of breaking...
Just Y2K for them, essentially?
Uh-huh. Yeah, instead of breaking the delusion, Roch simply said that God's time and their time didn't line up, so he had just miscalculated the date. It's real hard.
Yeah. They played the old telephone game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. God actually moves at 1.789623% slower than us, so I was off a little bit.
Gotcha.
But after a few thousand years, that adds up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's farther from the sun than we are.
That makes sense.
Or closer. Who knows?
Ooh. And so they all stayed.
Of course they did.
Yep. But the police were getting more sus. 10 of them dropped into the commune and took Roch for a psych eval and was arrested for obstruction of justice when a family members of other families of the other cult members tried to get one member free and was like, hey, we need her to go in for psychiatric evaluation. And Roch was like, absolutely not. And so he got arrested for interference, essentially.
Yep.
Obstruction of justice.
Yeah, as you said.
Yep. And he lied to them about everything.
Why wouldn't you?
Duh. And they bought it. Duh. Even the doctors at the psych ward were calling him Moses.
Terrific.
That's how charming he is. The psychiatrists were like, yeah, this guy's not bad. Told him he was rescuing kids that were high school dropouts and drug addicts and all these things. Yeah, it's awful.
Sweet.
So he returned to the cult, and another member, a former client of the health clinic, came looking for him, wanting to join.
Cool. New recruits.
Yep. His name is Guy Veer.
Fieri.
Guy Vieretti. So he's super important.
Okay.
Roch let him join, but he was separated from the group, sleeping in a shed, and he was put in charge of the animals, which were the children that were not directly created by Roch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So kids from like when he had married them all together, or like the baby that came in with Maurice with a Y.
Okay. So he's their Hagrid.
Yes.
He lives in a shack outside of the castle.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Except he is mentally unstable.
Guy is?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And he would also drink and beat the kids too.
I mean, he's going to be his right-hand man, I bet.
More like unpaid servant.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't say he was going to get paid.
No, he's also like not his right-hand man. He's absolutely trash. He's like, fuck that guy. He's sleeping in a shadow from everybody. I don't want him near any of my wives. You're allowed to take care of these dirty heathens.
Yeah, not my
Here's
kids.
a case of water and some beer. Piss right off.
Nice.
But the guy still wanted to join the cult.
Well, it's Moses.
So, yes, that's true. And then there was a big party. Roche's own kids from his first marriage, now 12 and 10, came to the commune to live with his father.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Okay.
So that night, I bolded half of this paragraph because I didn't know how much detail you wanted me to go into because it's fucking horrible.
I don't care. You've scarred me over at this point.
Yep. So, that night, while Veer was watching the other children, one named Samuel, he was Maurice's with a Y's baby at the beginning. The 6-month-old, he's now 2.
Okay.
He wound up dead.
All right.
There are 2 versions of this story. The one that was told to the police, where the 2-year-old was crying and Veer took out his frustrations on the kid. So, grabbed him, hit him in the face a half a dozen times. The next day, he was placed in Gabrielle's care, who was a nurse. That was where they said he was flopping around on his neck. And then for some reason, his penis was swollen. So Roch decided he was going to lance it.
Okay. That's a horrible image.
Yep. And then the next day, Samuel was found dead.
All right.
That is the official report that was told to the police.
Okay.
Yes. Or Giselle, who winds up writing a novel after all of this, a
tell all.
memoir, she tells a different story where his face was bruised that night, but nothing else was wrong with him. But a drunk Roch decided that he needed to circumcise Samuel, and he used a 94% ethanol to sedate him. But Veer, the outsider, who was treated like a babysitter and a servant, he may have taken the fall for it all.
Oh, okay. So it may have not been.
So the story they told is like the most horrific thing you could possibly imagine, trying to paint Veer as this horrible human being. And he is, don't get me wrong, but
more than likely.
And then to explain why there was an incision on this child's private parts, they were like, oh, it was swollen, even though he has a neck problem. Like, what?
Yeah.
And they had to lance it to let the urine out?
That makes no sense.
But he taught himself anatomy. So
too.
I feel like we should probably listen to Giselle. So Samuel was burned and everything went back to normal.
Okay. Burned?
Mm-hmm, yeah. They didn't want animals getting a hold of his body. So
Jesus. All right.
Yep. Until Roch got drunk one night and decided that Veer needed to stand trial. He was ultimately found innocent by the jury, but Roch wasn't satisfied with that conclusion and decided that Veer needed to be castrated.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. This is a fun topic so far.
I'm so sorry. And so he actually has like a letter of consent, and that was found by the police and everything. Roch tried to spin this saying that it would get rid of his headaches, and because he would no longer chronically masturbate.
Oh, okay.
And guess what happened?
Huh?
Veer's headaches went away.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
That's not a joke. And then he ran away from the compound.
Okay.
Yep.
I can imagine he has some reasons why.
Yep. And the police came raiding this time, and they found the evidence that they needed.
Yeah?
Yep. And
was it guy's dick?
Yeah. No, it
next
wasn't
to a
his,
letter of consent?
It was little balls, actually.
Oh, okay.
They kept the penis. They just
got rid of
his... Yeah. They kept the hot dogs and got rid of the beans.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Anything, literally anything at this point.
Weird chili cheese dog reference.
So, they came raiding, they found enough evidence, and enough evidence was found to take them to trial, and everyone was thrown in jail with various charges from neglect, bodily harm, criminal negligence, obstruction of justice. Roch was sentenced to 2 years in prison and 3 years on parole.
That does not seem like enough.
It was negligence. And it wasn't his fault. It was Veer's fault. He did it.
It was a lot of things. But anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, to wait out the time, the cult moved into town where Roch was imprisoned and waited out until they could all be together again. And that's where we're leaving for part 1.
Okay. I thought for a second, like, that feels like enough.
No.
Like, I realize there's probably going to be way more and way worse. Like, round 2, he's going to be even, like, more of a...
It's the knockout round?
Yeah, well, he's going to have, like, a renewed, like, passion / now probably... Usually this is when they get into that, like, paranoid and they're going to start collecting guns. So you never know which way a cult's going to go. But anyway.
It's so much fun. It's horrible.
It's absolutely terrible. Yeah.
I knew, like, 10% of this, and I was like, that must be the bad parts, right?
Nope.
No.
Terrific.
Yep.
Are you going to wait and do all of your sources in part 2 again?
I was just going to breeze through them like I did last time. I used Murderpedia, some CBC articles. I'll leave the titles for the end for no spoilers. And then a mirror.co.uk article, an investigationdiscovery.com article said Roch Thériault, the horrifying savagery and home surgery of Canada's most violent cult leader.
Terrific. All right.
Yep.
Merry Cultmas, everybody. That's a spicy one.
Yeah, that's a cute way to put it.
Yeah. So this is our last episode before Christmas, actually.
Yeah.
Oop, I just created an event. Cool. I touched my calendar and made it angry. So yeah. Happy holidays. What are all the holidays you like to...
Oh, there's all different sorts of holidays.
Anyway.
There's Yule and Krampus Knot, which we had to celebrate because the child woke up on the 5th and went, Mom, can we? And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck. What? Yeah. And Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and Boxing Day and all different sorts. Whatever you celebrate.
Just,
or nothing at all.
Listen to this and then have a really awkward conversation with your relatives over Christmas about it.
It's gonna be great. And then you can fuck up New Year's with the second half.
Yep, exactly. Be like, oh, I heard the second part of it. It's way worse. Just listen. So anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And
if you've made it this far,
congrats.
It's bad.
I mean, there's been a lot of, genitalia references. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's not foreshadowing. But anyway, we'll all find out in a week.
Yep.
Huzzah.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.